Part 7. We're almost done. Only one more part after this. This is the shortest part of my class here on Kelby Training, but it's one of the most important. You really want to check your exposures on the little monitor on the back of your camera. But think about this. How much did your monitor cost? $1,000, $800, $2,000? How much do you think the monitor costs in your camera? $50, $75? I honestly don't know. But the point is that that monitor at home, or even your laptop monitor, costs a lot more than this. So the monitor's designed just to give you a good idea of your pictures. Here's something else. If you shoot RAW files, and I really hope you shoot RAW files because there's so much more information in those files. If you shoot RAW files, the histogram on the back of your camera and the overexposure warning is not for the RAW file. It's for a JPEG of that file. So you might say, well, why check the camera? Well, because what it does, again, it gives you an idea. So if your overexposure warning's blinking on the back of your camera and you're shooting RAW files, you may not be overexposed because you could rescue some of that information because more details there. If you have a spike on the right, it shows your highlights are going to be blown out. Again, that's the histogram for the JPEG. Now, someday this may change, but I don't know about that. So keep in mind that the screen on the back is really designed just to give you a good idea. The other thing is this, as I'm sure you know, if you read your instruction book like I hope you did, I hope you do, you could change the brightness of your screen. So that's going to affect how your picture looks also. Me, I like to keep my brightness set in dead center. So let's just talk about a little bit more about checking your exposures. We talked about the overexposure warning. You could turn this on most cameras, or you could turn it off, or you could turn it on. I like to leave it on. If an area of a picture is going to be overexposed and washed out, or if the camera thinks it's going to be overexposed and washed out, it's going to blink. So here I am. I'm up in the subarctic, minus 35 degrees. I mean, even though I'm on my stomach, I was freezing my butt off. So when I handed my camera to the person to take the shot, the background was blinking. But as you can see here, I still have detail in the background. I hope you can see it on your monitor because, once again, I'm shooting a RAW file. But I always check that overexposure warning. I also always check the histogram. Now, what the histogram does is it shows you the distribution of the brightness levels in the scene. In this shot, you see we have a lot of midtones. We don't have a spike on the right, which would indicate an overexposed area or a lot of white, a lot of light areas, and we don't have a spike on the left, my left. You're right. I have to go like this, which would show that the shadows would be blocked up. But the thing is this. There's really no such thing as a good histogram or a bad histogram. It depends on what you like. A fashion photographer may photograph a model and have the background totally blown out, with a big spike. He or she may like that. Here's a picture that I took at the end of the day coming back from one of my subarctic experiences. You can see I have a spike on the right. This is the histogram for the scene that I took out the front window of what's called a tundra buggy. And what that spike is, it's showing you the slightly overexposed snow, the tracks in the foreground. But you know what? This is one of my favorite shots from the trip. So sure, I checked the histogram, but this is the histogram for that scene. So learning how to see the light is very important, and learning how to read your histogram is very, very important. Well, I told you this part of the class would be short. That's the end of Part 7. Let's move on to the final part. That's right, Part 8.